All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Assemble. My name's High Ruler, and I just got home from work. I don't know if you can see my hands, but there's like pain all over me and stuff. So you guys are gonna have to bear with me. The first thing I wanted to do was come home and just kind of talk to the camera and get my thoughts out before I lost them. So, for anyone who doesn't know, Black Panther's skin, the MCU skin, came out today. And before we get started on the video, I just want to say a few things. If you like the skin, I hope you enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with the skin. The skin is top quality. It's perfection. It looks amazing. No one's doubting that. No one's saying otherwise. Okay. So for the people who desperately wanted this skin since it was kind of teased that Black Panther was coming out, right? And then we got our first MCU skins. People like Black Panther MCU skin, right? There's a lot of those people out there. So I hope today is your day, and I hope you're happy. Okay. Genuinely from the bottom of my heart. Now, with that being said, there are a few things that I really want to touch on today, and I really hope that what I say is not seen as an attack to anybody who is looking forward to buying that skin and playing in that skin, because generally speaking, when I look at a situation like this, it's not against the people who are actively partaking in buying the skins or enjoying that part of the game. By all means, do what you do. But when I look at a lot of the stuff surrounding today, for example, it's just, I said on Twitter, I'm tired. And for that, let me explain a little bit of what's going on. So, when I talk about the issues with the game, think about months ago, right? Think about all the issues that have kind of piled up in the game, right? If I talk about OLTs, there's people who pop up with OLT issues. There's people who talk about gear issues. There's people who talk about a wide variety of things that are going on with the game right now, right? Cosmetic rework, so on and so forth, right? There's a lot of things that we talk about with the game, and unfortunately, there's just not a lot there to kind of sink your teeth into right now, right? There's just not a lot to look forward to other than this proverbial roadmap that we hope is coming this week because of the anniversary. So when we look at a lot of this stuff and we're clinging on to hope for a lot of these things, and then we get told there's a surprise coming alongside a new daily and a new weekly chain to the game with this patch, a lot of us start hoping for the best, right? Now, I was memeing on Twitter saying Cloney Labs, Cloney Labs. Listen, if Cloney Labs was the surprise today, I'd be doing one of these and not coming on and making a video expressing my thoughts, right? Two totally different things. Did I personally 100% seriously expect it to be Cloney Labs? Not a chance. Now, did I expect it to be maybe a Crossbones villain sector, for example? Sure, yeah. Because here's the thing. When someone says there's a surprise in the next patch, I don't think of a surprise as a paid cosmetic, right? I don't think of a surprise as something that I have to fork out money to get, right? When I think of a surprise, I think of something that is all inclusive to the player base as a whole, right? A surprise would have been new mission chain, which we did kind of get, and we'll talk about that later. A new villain sector, a new piece of content, loadouts, something that actively makes the game better, and not something that I have to open up my wallet to actively get, right? So for me, when I logged into Twitter and I was like, oh, there's the MCU costume, that's cool. But then I saw everything else, I was like, oh, that's the surprise. It's like, oh, well, that kind of sucks, right? That to me was kind of like the first part of the deflating bit of today. And then you can get into the issues too, where it's like there was no public acknowledgement of Chadwick's passing, the anniversary of it. You know, there was nothing to say like, hey, like we at Crystal Dynamics mourn the loss of Chadwick. You know, it just seems like they were very hush hush on that front. And then at the first chance they get after the passing, it's like, okay, now we can pump out this skin. That to me just doesn't seem cool. It just doesn't seem like the thing to do, right? You could totally acknowledge the passing without, like, it's just to me, you know, when every other Marvel account, to my knowledge, maybe there's some that I'm missing, personally acknowledges the passing of him. You know, I just feel like you probably should say something, especially if you have his MCU look locked and loaded, ready to go a few days later. You know what I mean? If this was something that wasn't coming within a few days, maybe it was a month from now, maybe you can probably get away without publicly acknowledging that his passing, you know, the anniversary of his passing. But when it's literally like a few days later and you're like ready for $14 to be coming into your wallet, it's like, you know, you could at least say something, right? And that's where a lot of that comes from. It's where a lot of people, I think, are kind of like, oh, it's not really good, right? And then we go into the mission chains, right? So Phil had said that there'd be a new weekly and a new daily coming this week, right? Well, now we know that they're kind of mission chains, which ultimately are very similar to what we've been doing within events anyways, right? They don't really seem that all engaging. They don't really seem that fun. They're very much so just there, right? And then you get into the other point of like another consumable coming to the game, right? This is a fragments consumable, right? And I've made my stance very clear on consumables and how it's very much so a slippery slope, and you start here and you end here, right? I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down in the future we see a consumables bundle which has XP bundles, fragment bundles, polychron bundles. Like it's to me at least it's probably a slippery slope, and it's only a matter of time, right? So that to me is another strike of today. And then it just then you have the Wakanda Forever emote in the heroic starter pack. That's another strike on today. It's just like to me, it's just like all these things kind of like coincided with each other to make this day just kind of like one of those where you sit there, you look at it, and you're like, oh my God, this is not the day they needed. And a lot of these are self-inflicted wounds, right? These aren't something that, oh, like, like this happened. It's like these are self-inflicted wounds. And a lot of the time, you can get away with kind of like what this issue here, this issue a few weeks later, but doing this all on one day, having this all happen on one day, you look at it and you're like, man, like, guys, like, come on. And that's why I said I'm tired. I'm tired of there always being something that is happening that requires me to sit here in front of the camera and go, guys, what is going on, right? Because to me, I feel like a lot of this time, it should just be simple. Like, and I say that, and I obviously it's not as simple as it sounds, but like publicly acknowledging an actor's passing when you have his skin a few days later ready to go, that should be kind of like done. Saying there's a surprise for people in the next patch when people, for the most part, not everyone, but when people are looking for content in your game, when you publicly announce that the 3 weeklies are ending and there's nothing to suggest that something is coming after right at this moment, right? There is things that are actively happening within the discourse of the community that are just happening. And like the unfortunate thing is that a lot of the time, and we've seen this before, I've said it before, you guys have noticed it before, they're very reactive instead of proactive a lot of the time. I don't know if it's red tape. I don't know if it's because they're waiting on the roadmap approvals. But announcing that things are leaving without things are replacing them, that's bad. Not acknowledging the actor's passing when you have his MCU look locked and loaded, ready to go, that's bad. Putting the Wakanda Forever emote in a starter pack, that's bad. Like, and then the mission chains, we can go on the mission chains, the consumable stuff. To me, that's bad. And a lot of the time, you just look at it and you're just like, man, like, I don't know, man. I look at today. I look at a day like today and I'm just tired, And maybe you guys will look at this video and watch this video and be like, listen, High Ruler, like it's really not that bad, man. Like it, and to be fair, Lejuna said, his perspective on it, and that's a cool perspective. I totally understand where people are coming from when they say, listen, the skin's cool, the mission chains or whatever, it's all whatever, man. Like, just take a step back. And you guys are probably totally valid in that, right? For me, though, I just look at it and I'm like, man, and that's where I'm at right now. I wish the surprise was something else. I'd wish they had acknowledged Chadwick's passing like a lot of other Marvel accounts did, especially since the skin was locked and loaded, ready to go. I wish the Wakanda Forever emote wasn't locked behind a paywall. I wish they would have just given the freebie on that one. It really feels like they should have just given the freebie on that one. And I wish the mission chains were something better than what we got, I don't know if my expectations are too high. People have kind of told me, hey, like, take a step back, like, you know what I mean? Like, keep your expectations low, so whatever you get, you're surprised by. I understand that approach. For me, I look at Marvel's Avengers as the game that could be everything to me. You know what I mean? They got to do some loot stuff. They got to fix some time gaining stuff. But other than that, there's something with this game that really draws me in a lot of the time. And because of that, I really, 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 really try and believe in this game as much as I can, right? When things were going bad in December, when things are going bad after these DLC releases, I'm still here trying to, believe and fight the good fight, right? Like, I want this game to be the game that I log in every day and I'm excited to play it. Right? I don't want to log into Twitter every day and see something else happening, right? It's exhausting for me. It's exhausting for you guys. I'm sure it's exhausting for the developers who are working on the ground level trying to get this stuff out, right? I just wish that there was kind of better foresight into a lot of this stuff and maybe how the community will react to a lot of this stuff. And once again, it's not everyone, because I know there's people who have, like, talked to me today on Twitter, YouTube comments, who said, like, dude, MCU Black Panther skin is out. I'm fucking excited. And once again, if that's you, please don't believe that I'm trying to take your excitement away from you or your enjoyment away from you, because there are different sides of the community. That right there makes it very hard to please. You have your end game players who want, like, the next piece of content. You have people who want skins. They want to live out that fantasy, right? Then you have people in the middle who want to live out that power fantasy, right? So you have all these different people and all these different groups of people that are coinciding into one game. And the question is, how do you juggle all that, right? And it's tough. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot there that they need to juggle, and there's a lot there that they need to figure out. And it's very tough when you have all these different fragmented communities within your singular community of your game. And it is tough to do that. So I'm not saying any of this is very simple to do. I'm not saying any of this, I'm not even saying my opinion is right, because, what I feel is different from what someone else feels, which is different from someone else feels. I just feel tired today. And honestly, that's just kind of where I'm at, man. I love the game. I want to see this game be successful and grow and have millions of players. Obviously that's probably not going to happen, but you know what I mean, guys. And that's just really what it is. Cool skin, great skin. I love the skin. Just feels like the way it was kind of like handled was kind of off. And I really wish that, if there was a better way to do it, they did it. And that's just kind of where I am, Let's hope the rest of the week goes better. Let's hope we get a roadmap very soon. And let's hope that we see something, this week. With that being said, guys, I will see you guys next time here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. All right. Thank you guys. Later.